You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Drew Del Pree. It's Friday. You're muted. Again.
That's how I start every show.
At
When we
least
came in,
you
I
are
was like, "Oh man,
consistent.
we brought the doctor in early."
Yeah, I thought about that right as we started, but I was like, well, there's a thought, and that's about as far as I got. So
Hey man,
here we are.
it's all good.
Yeah. So I guess we should tell people who we got here. We got the brand spanking new doctor in the house, Doctor Will Collins. What's up?
What's up?
So he's not a real doctor. He's just a PhD.
No.
But whoa, wait. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud.
That's all
It's
right.
all right.
Yeah, I did.
Truth
Well,
hurts sometimes.
It does. Welcome to the show, man. All bullshitting aside, that's an impressive feat because you have a couple 100 degrees, right?
I mean, he's got a lot.
I got a lot. One of my hobbies, I guess, was going to school, but that one's done.
Yeah, we heard that. We heard that in the background.
Yep.
Anyway, hey,
Yeah, I got in
before
trouble. So I don't know what I did, but I got in trouble.
that's okay. It's part of being married, brother. But hey, before
Yeah.
we get too deep into your introduction, we are going to we're going to hit what we normally hit here. And that's our weekly wrap up.
That's right. We're back this week. I did watch the news this week, Andy. Oh my god, it was terrible. First, I have to apologize to everybody. I'm sick. I'm coming up off of sick, and I was low key sick all week. But I was able to listen to the news and get a wrap for you developed. Man, Andy, have you been watching?
Not so much because some asshole got me hooked on this freaking video game, and it's like all I've been doing lately. So
We could talk about that in a minute. Let me wrap these guys real quick, and then we'll
let's
get to
do it.
we can talk about that other stuff. Hey, Monday's PDB with Mike Baker went back over the Ukraine war, right? And a new poll that has Zelensky underwater in unpopularity for the first time, indicating potentially the lowering of support among Ukrainians for the war. They also reminded us again, don't forget about 10 million Ukrainians have left that country, and they don't anticipate that they're going to return. So that country is really in a lot of trouble because of this this invasion by Putin. So a lot to be seen from there. That's still going on. That's still a lot of trouble over there in that region. Steve Day show yesterday during the first 15 minutes played the clip of the LA mayor, Karen Bass. Have you heard this? Karen Bass
Oh God.
telling residents where to go on the web for resources. Have you heard that?
Oh my God! Not only did I hear that, but I heard when the reporter cornered her in the jetway of the airplane. She had zero response.
Do you have
Yeah, of
nothing to
course she doesn't
say,
have-
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, she doesn't have anything. Of course, she doesn't have anything to say, right? But anyway, the best part was basically she's reading, trying to tell residents where to go for help and support in a time of need during these LA fires. And we have a website up to support your support you. The address is URL. And then she basically just goes right back into talking about how, visit that website, you'll get resources. That's where you can go to help.
I swear to God, there must be.
Go to www. Right?
There
It's
must
like
be
some Ron
comedy
Burgundy type stuff.
It must be a comedy writer writing this shit for these politicians because
Who
if
knows
it
who
wasn't so
writes it, right?
pathetic.
And for more on the LA fires, right? You had hour 3 of the Glenn Beck program had audio from the fire chief about how people want first responders who look like them, right? So they have the lesbian fire chief out there in the parade and everything. DEI hires, right? That's why LA is burning, by the way. LA is burning out of DEI hires, right? So they played her saying people always, they people want people to rescue them who look like them. And a lot of times people say to her, well, how are you going to carry me out of a fire if I'm unconscious? And I always say, if I have to carry you out of there, then how'd you get yourself into the wrong situation to begin with, right? So that was her response was, it's your fault for being in the fire anyway, right?
Wait, was that serious?
Response?
Yeah, that was her response at the press. You can watch her say,
God.
well, I have to tell you then, how the hell did you get in there, right? So, so that's her. Right. So the whole world is moving for Trump, right? To wrap it back up, we'll finish with Jack Posobiec. Had a clip Wednesday of a citizen in Greenland being asked about Trump's comments, right? However, it didn't go the way the reporter thought it would. Asking about Trump buying Greenland, his response was, if we had a vote tomorrow, we'd be citizens of America tonight. He said, we don't like being a part of the Danes. They don't let us do anything. America, buy us. Come take us. We'll go with you tomorrow if they let us vote, but they'll never let us vote. But if you can do it, we're with you. And that was his response to the reporter. The world is changing, everybody, just based off of one election. And the last thing I'll wrap it up with, I know I said I would wrap it up with that, but the last thing I'll wrap it up with, since we're talking about change, is you had Mark Zuckerberg just come out and give a video talking about how he's going to back off fact checking, go to a more community note style format. But if you watch it unfiltered without any editorial, he says there's a shift in public opinion. And it was very hard to have free speech under the previous administration and government. So the world is changing. Elections do have consequences. And look at what you're reaping already. And the man hasn't even been in office yet. And that, folks, is a wrap. I paid for it, so you don't have to. But go ahead and check it out.
Awesome. Man, it's so bizarre to me, man. But I don't trust Zuckerberg at all.
He would have to do more. I mean, we're off the rap segment now. He would have to do way. Oh, come on, man. He led the league in killing stories and demonetizing and drowning out voices and, forcing the mandates and all these other things. I mean, he leads the league in that. I mean, I heard it said best. I didn't put it in the rap, right? But I mean, I heard it said best again. Steve Dace was talking about this a couple days ago, not on the same day as the other mention, but he was saying, if he would have said, and I'm funding a $200 billion lawsuit against the federal government to get you back the money and resources you've lost, please sign my petition, right? Then that would have that. Oh, hey, okay, he's serious.
Right.
And I'm suing for everything they made me do. Join my petition if you were harmed.
Right. If he's so smart, why wouldn't he have had recorded conversations of these alleged threats and harassments? You know what I mean? He's not stupid.
You can't record conversations in California.
Yeah. We talked.
You can't record conversations in California for legal purposes, but if it just so happened to get leaked to the press, or
because a couple years ago they had that owner, the NBA team, that had some stuff recorded him without his permission, and they threw it out of court because you can't.
But my point is, it doesn't matter about court. Once it gets into the court of public opinion,
that's true.
The jury can't unhear it once they hear it.
Right, that could be
admissible, but
very viable strategy, and not just the court itself, but the public opinion of the whole country.
That was F. Lee Bailey. F. Lee Bailey said, if you want, and remember, it's people forget, right? It was a long time ago. F. Lee Bailey's firm represented OJ.
Mm-hmm.
He helped write the UCMJ for the military. F. Lee Bailey helped write the UCMJ for the military. He said, if you want to win in court, you must win in the court of public opinion first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he was on the phone with OJ the whole time. Keep driving, buddy. This is great. Keep driving. Don't pull over. You almost out of gas? Shit. Give it a good one, man, and let it coast a little. And then shut it off, and then try to let it ride. Don't try to start it again. You'll burn more gas. I'm sure he was just the whole time telling him, just keep going, man. This is beautiful. This is all we need. Keep going.
It's just the way it is, man. You can try to be impartial on a jury all you want, but once you hear something like that, it's damn near impossible to get it out of your brain housing group. But without further ado, let's introduce Will once again, Dr. Will, who is also a Navy veteran and more importantly, near and dear to our hearts, he is WWA's chaplain.
Yes.
So, Will, welcome to the show, brother. Why don't you?
Thank you, guys.
Why don't you give us? I got to say it first, man. You know what? Never judge a book by its cover, because you look at Will, he's a great big old country boy looking. Look like he'd be a knuckle dragging fool, but he's smarter than 10 people I know. Way smarter than me. But anyway, so before we get into the whole education, let's go back and talk about your naval career. What up, Stitch?
What's up, Stitch? So I was a language intelligence analyst in the military for the Navy, Arabic and Kurdish primarily. Did that for 6 years and then decided
Wait. Before we go any further, I have to have you translate something for me.
Oh, boy.
I need you to say in Arabic, please tell me where the goats are.
No, I'm not going to translate it because I have no idea what you're going to use it for.
No, I just want to hear it again.
Nah, we'll be good.
That's horseshit. It's the last time you're on this show, pal. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah. Because I don't want you to go back and be like, "Hey, Will taught me how to say this offensive thing in
Wait,
Arabic."
do you
So
not
I'm gonna.
know me? Do you not realize that in 5 minutes I will have forgotten it anyway?
I do know you, and I know that you will like record it and go back and say it somewhere and
I'm
send it
not
to
smart
somebody.
enough.
We
I'm not
already have
smart
Grok working on it, man. You said it already.
Yeah.
enough.
Be a deep fake.
Did you say Gronk? Oh, Gronk.
Grok, the Twitter AI
AI.
supposed
Oh
to be not woke.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's not do deep fakes with me, please. Uh, so yeah, I did that in the
Shit.
military. I was in Coronado. I was in Monterey, and I finished up in Augusta, and then met my wife in Augusta, and decided to get out and live a normaler life.
And you are a disabled veteran
Yes,
in more ways than
and
one,
more.
but
I mean, let's specify the question.
Yeah.
so so you got out what when you got out, all right, let me ask you this cuz a lot of people this is where we screw up, myself included. When you got out, did you have a plan? Did you know, all right, I'm getting out, this is where I'm going to go and this is
You
what
know,
I'm
I originally, so I knew I wanted to go into ministry and be a pastor or a missionary or something. So I was gonna go back to school and do that. Um, I really didn't know when I got out. Um, as I've learned, transition. Like if you look at the list of the most stressful things a person can go through in their life, transitioning out of the military is one of the hardest things somebody can do. I didn't realize how hard that transition was going to be for me, um, and you guys probably can attest to that too, and just how difficult that is. And then throw in there dealing with brain injury, PTSD, um, stuff that I really hadn't thought about, how that would affect me. And I think just the order and the consistency of the military kind of held it all together, and getting it out kind of just crumbled that a little bit. So yeah, it was kind of for a few years just like trying to figure out, get my bearings and get my feet under me, um, and figure out, you know, where I was going, what I was going to do. And, but had a general idea of what I wanted to do. But then was really just trying to figure out life day by day in those moments.
So what led you to the ministry?
Uh, well, so I kind of knew I wanted to go into ministry, um, since I was a kid. And then I was in the military, met some guys who um, were Christians in the military, and they had a little ministry they were doing in the military, and I was part of that. And I thought about going in and being a chaplain. Um, so one of my thoughts was to get my master's in divinity and then go back in as a chaplain. Um, and then with the whole brain injury PTSD diagnosis, I kind of put a hamper on that. Can't really, they don't want you back when they break you.
Right.
Um, so that kind of ended that ambition there. So yeah, just felt as a calling that I had, and a purpose for my life to serve God and serve people, and just use the gifts that God's given me, experiences God's given me to um, help people's lives and um, help the world around me.
Well, I gotta say, man, you're probably one of the realest pastors I've ever met. I normally have issues with clergy.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I'm technically not a pastor right now. I'm a former pastor, but I'm actually not really a pastor. I'm not ordained right now.
Either way, in my mind,
Ordained in the Life Christ Church.
Is that one of those things you go online and you get the certificate to
Yeah,
like do a wedding?
so I thought it would get me the chaplain parking space at the VA when I worked there. I don't, do I need to finish that?
No, no. So hey, here's the thing. I have so in Georgia, if you are 100% disabled veteran, they give you a special like license plate. You don't pay car tax or whatever. But so I have a disabled veterans license plate, and I tell my wife that if you have the disabled veterans license plate, it is like the golden ticket. You can commit any traffic violation you want to. You're never gonna get pulled over. You can double park in any handicap spot you want to. Like, because I guarantee you pull into a Walmart, you see somebody parked over the handicap spot, it's gonna be a military disabled veteran. Like it just gives you the green light to park however you want to. I saw a guy the other day. They had a military veteran like parking space at the grocery store, and next to it they had a disabled handicap space. And this guy with a veteran's license plate had parked over the line of both of them. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I got a buddy of mine that's he's a below the knee amputee. We've had you've met him, Lou. Rob's his name, and they went in and parked at Walmart in the front handicap spot. His wife and kids went into Walmart, and he stayed in the car, right? So he said this old lady comes out, and she's just mean mugging the crap out of him. Like, why are you in that parking space, right? And he's like, man, you know what? I didn't even say nothing to her. Didn't even look at her. I just held up my prosthetic, and she like her jaw dropped, and she looked. She said she stood there for like 30 seconds in all like I'm the biggest piece of shit in the world, So again, don't judge a book by its cover. You never know.
You never know.
So moving on, I don't care if you're ordained or not, man. You help me out. I don't mind admitting, man. I lost my faith for a long time, and I lean on you quite a bit trying to get me back on the right track. Although it's that's a big job. But anyway, so when I say I have issues with a lot of clergy, I still consider you clergy.
Yeah.
But you're the realest one I've ever met. I tell you what, it goes way back. We're not going to psychoanalyze it tonight. But one of the ones was my battalion chaplain was a Catholic priest, right? And we pull in the Philippines in the early 90s. And I walk into a bar and I look to my left and there's the chaps with two young ladies on his lap. And I'm like, oh, hey, chaps, how are you? And he's like, Doc, you never saw me here. I said, you know what? I'm okay with that because they're little girls. Now, if it would have been two boys on your lap, we were having a different conversation right now. But, in my mind, it's like, dude, you're supposed to be our chaplain, You're supposed to be our spiritual guidance. You're out here, playing hide the salami out in town like you shouldn't be. So, wow, that's impressive.
Oh, sorry.
That's a thirsty puppy, man.
I didn't know what you're talking about. Yeah, let me mute that real quick.
No. It don't matter, man. It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Oh,
in case you didn't realize it, this is not exactly a professional production. However,
well, speak for yourself.
We're semi-pro. We're in the minor leagues right now. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, that amongst other things is brought a lot of, let's just say, distrust in that whole area. In fact, I was working in the ER, and they brought this kid in that was, you and I have talked about this before, Will. They brought this kid in that was suicidal and he had taken something, and his ship's chaplain had brought him in, and we're in the triage, and I'm asked the chaplain, I said, well, what'd he take? And he says, well, I can't tell you that. I said, well, you need to tell me because he's going to die, and you're going to be held responsible. I don't give a shit about your pastorship or whatnot. You're going to be held liable under UCMJ, fucker.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, and in most religions, like imminent crime and death.
Yeah, you're technically like a mandated reporter.
Right. Yeah, in a lot of cases. Exactly.
So I asked him again what he'd taken, and the kid wasn't talking. He wouldn't tell me. And the chaplain wouldn't tell me. I said, oh, you can get the fuck out of here then, because you're useless to me. And he's like, well, I'm the chaplain. I said, I don't give a, you're a problem right now. I said, I'll call security if I need to throw you out of here. So here's your chance to walk out on your own, or you're going to get thrown out. I said, you're worthless. You should be ashamed of yourself, you piece of shit. And so we took the kid back and we pumped the stomach. But I was like, I understand where he was coming from. But at the same time, aren't you supposed to be preserving that life? And you have other duties as a military chaplain and as an officer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That
I
was
feel
funny,
like,
man.
I mean, I feel like a situation, and I've obviously never been a military chaplain, or I have been in similar situations as a pastor, with mandated reporting and all that, unfortunately. But I feel like you're just as a human being, your commitment to human life, supersedes any duty or responsibility you may have. I don't know.
He must have been a new chaplain too, man, because he was sure sticking to that. I'm
He
like,
was
you're,
probably scared. Yeah, scared of UCMJ and not realize him.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
I'm not exactly the most I don't know, easygoing person to deal with when we're in a a time hack
yeah,
situation where time is of the essence.
yeah.
I'm not there to hold your hand and make you feel better. You either, what do we say, Lou? Lead, follow, or get the fuck out of the way. I ain't got time.
Yeah.
Got lives to save. But so we know you have your divinity degree. What other degrees do you have?
I have a degree in counseling, and then I have a PhD in theology.
Nobody likes an overachiever, man.
And nobody likes to underachiever either.
Oh, I beg to differ.
Let me tell you something, Doctor. It wasn't a hard charger who invented the remote control.
uh,
That's
that's a good
facts.
one. That's
That's
a good
facts.
one. That's a good one.
So, before we get into what you like to do, I already know what you like to do. But let's talk about this fish guiding thing you're doing.
Yeah. So when I first, my wife and I moved to the mountain. So she grew up in a small mountain town, in North Georgia, and
Wee.
yeah, and it's not. It's kind of like, you ever watch Deliverance?
Oh yes,
It's kind of like that.
that's like a training film for me.
Yeah, it gives a lot of Deliverance vibes up here, but it's a great little town. But she grew up in a small town in North Georgia. We moved back about 3 years ago, uh, and so I didn't really know what I was going to do when we moved up here. I was kind of just trying to figure it out, and had an opportunity open up with me. I started going to this group that was called Veterans Fly Fishing, and started fishing with them and getting really connected with them, and go down there once a week and hang out, and started guiding with them. I went through their guide program, and the president of the organization asked me one day, "Hey, you want to be a professional guide?" I was like, "Well, it'd be kind of cool." And so he hooked me up with one of the other guys on the board, and he kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes and gave me some opportunities to guide, and got connected with some other guys in the industry, and um, just really enjoyed doing it. Got really connected and really involved. Now on the board with the Veterans Fly Fishing um, organization here in Georgia, and it's just a great way to help veterans find something that can. It's a lifelong hobby. Um, it's it's probably one of the most therapeutic things I've done. Uh, I've taken lots of guys out fishing, and really just it's one of the most therapeutic things that I've experienced. The solitude of being out on the water in the middle of the woods with no cell service and banjo music playing, and
I
that.
listened to everything you said, but all I heard was there wasn't shit else to do in that small town, so you took up fishing.
Uh, there's
Pretty
stuff
close to
that,
accurate.
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, there's a bar or two, right?
Nope, we're Dry County.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, so fishing was it.
fishing's it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've fished my whole life. I love fishing. It's good, but fly fishing was new to me, trout fishing especially. So I just really fell in love with that, and started doing it. Met some good guys in the community, and then things opened up, for me to work at the church that I'm at now as the youth and kids director. So I stepped into that and stepped back from a lot of the guiding. I still have which is good because like a lot of my kids in my youth group want to go fishing, and so now I get to like, okay, let's go fishing. I still get to go fishing and consider it work, I guess, but also consider it fun.
There you
Um,
go.
but I love that. I love fishing. I love being in the water. I really love more than fishing is helping somebody else catch a fish, and do something they've never done before. And I love it when a guy, you know, probably one of the greatest compliments somebody can give me is when they're on the water and they say, you know what? I haven't thought about work a single time today. I haven't thought about whatever problem's going on in my life. And I realized really quickly when you're out on the water, especially when you're on the boat, and you're doing a drift boat, you start at one point of the river, float 8 hours down the river, and you're just stuck on a boat with a person for 8 hours. And eventually you start talking about deep stuff, you know, and people will share stuff on the boat with you or on the water. They just get so comfortable, so immersed in nature there, I guess, like they share stuff with you that's deep and personal. They probably won't share with many people. And I realized that being on the water was probably a lot more effective for some people than being in a counseling office, you
Oh
know?
man,
And,
definitely.
and, with my background and my experience and counseling and ministry just opened up a lot of opportunities for me to really minister to people and, and share my heart with them and hear them and help them. So, uh, I love having the opportunity to get up there with people and them experience something that I think can really, bring them peace of mind and, um, help them out.
So
So
recently we had in the news, a veteran take his own life, rather publicly, in front of Trump Tower,
Yeah.
and it came out, he had reached out to multiple people and all these things, and when you look at, sort of who was he reaching out to, right? These sort of large entities, these large names, these things that get lost,
Yeah.
in the I want to say the ether, right? Can like talk about the local resource, right? I mean, like the value of reaching out locally, having these services locally, like your local pastor, your local
Yeah.
counselor. I mean, these
I see myself, and I see myself as really in my community, and in people, even in the larger community around the country with WWA or different organizations I've worked with, um, being really like a resource guy, uh, a facilitator in a lot of ways. I try to stay aware of any program and opportunity that may be available to veterans, and it's kind of like I'm kind of that like I know a guy kind of guy, you
yeah,
know. And so I like to be at a point, and I've tried to understand the VA system and as much as I can to help guys with the VA system and help guys with, getting the medical care they need and get the right stuff. And um, I think there's a lot of things that the big organizations they just can't do, right? They just can't. They can't touch the personal level like a local organization can. But the problem is local organizations don't have the name or the popularity or the funding, any of that to really.
that, and I think too, when you send Sean Ryan an email, the chances of him seeing that,
Yeah.
replying to that, right, and getting to you, versus, if you stop by your local church and see your local pastor,
Yeah.
if you
Hopefully.
reach out
Hopefully.
to your local resources, they're there and they receive training, and I think, you know, can you land a bad one? Yeah, absolutely, right. But does that mean the bunch is, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
And
these local
for the most
resources,
part,
yeah,
I can't speak for all pastors everywhere. I can't speak for all Christians everywhere. I can't speak for all veterans everywhere. But I do know that a lot of the ones I know and that I trust, the ones um, that I personally respect, uh, they're the kind of people that if you were to reach out to them at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, they'd be on your doorstep at 10 o'clock.
yeah,
And that's the way I try to be, and within reason. Like obviously, like I'm like, hey, can we talk about this tomorrow?
yeah.
But you got to respect your own time too. But I think that a lot of the people that I have met in the veteran community, and in the ministry community, especially in small towns like I live in, they're just people who are willing to help anybody. And I think that's one thing I think people when they talk about rural America and they talk about um, the education or the whatever you have in rural America. They one thing you miss is the community, right? So in the town I live in, half the people who live in this town have been here for 40 years or generations. Um, and so there's such a deep network of community that everybody knows everybody, and everybody's connected. And you really don't have to go far to look for somebody to help. But one thing I realized here was there were not a lot of post 9/11 veterans.
Hmm.
Um, and you guys know this, like there's a big generational philosophical mentality difference between pre 9/11 veterans and post 9/11 veterans. Um, and so I think that when I have met guys who are in a situation, a lot of times you feel lost because you go to the VFW or you go to the Legion and it's all like Vietnam guys, And it's like, well, we don't really have a lot of similar interests, different life stages, different experiences, you know. Um, and so I think being able, knowing where to like point guys, knowing where to help, and I think that's one thing, that I try to be, because I do have a lot of diverse experiences in my background, that I think I have a way to relate to people and be empathetic and be understanding, and try to enter their world for a little bit and help them the best I can.
Strong, man. And you're really good at it. I gotta say, I watched the way that you handle and you deal with the folks at Winter War Umpire Academy during camp, and yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Thanks.
Uh, for a country boy in Georgia, but anyway, since we talked about or mentioned WWA, that's how we all met. So you
Yeah,
came through 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago. Yeah,
Came through as a student, and then we found out your background, and we snatched you up like a sandwich.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and I tell you what, man, you make running the SDI portion much easier on me. So I appreciate you. But what got you into baseball and softball?
Well, I played a lot of sports growing up. My dad worked in college athletics. I've been around sports my whole life, um, and it's kind of funny because I was trying to think of just what are some things I can do on the side that I would enjoy, make a little bit of money, get out of the house, invest in my community. And I told my wife one day, I was like, I think about maybe if I started like umpiring baseball or softball or something for the rec department. And so I start like I do. Anytime I get an idea or think about something that possibly could be an avenue for someone, I start researching all the veterans opportunities for people. Right? What are opportunities? So if somebody wanted to, you know, learn to play the guitar, is there a way for the? Is there a veterans program to help teach somebody? And there is. I mean, there are lots of them. But that's just a kind of example. So I looked. I was like, what is available for veterans, wounded veterans who want to get into umpiring? And I came across the WWA, and I had put in my the application period already ended. It was like May, and I just was like, well, I'll just go ahead and fill it out. It's not gonna hurt anything. So I filled it out, and then a couple days later, our good buddy Joe called me. I was out on the boat fishing, and he called, "Hey, you want to go to camp?" I was like, "It was Memorial Day weekend, and camp's like in 2 weeks." It's like, let me check with my wife, make sure it's okay. And so I ended up coming to camp. Really had no idea. I never umpired a game, never officiated a game. Had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea if you guys were gonna like hog tie me and put me in a Connex box somewhere.
You too big
Like
for that shit.
yeah, take a couple of you. Um, but I didn't really know what I was getting into, and what I found there was something bigger than baseball. Uh, and I enjoy umpiring. I enjoy calling games. I enjoy calling softball. I feel like the egos and the attitudes are a lot lower in softball than I deal with in baseball, and I really don't have time to deal with 12-year-old attitudes
Right.
and their parents.
Right.
Um, so I really enjoy doing fast pitch softball. Um, but I like umpiring, but I think part of the reason I umpire is because it's like that mutual connection with guys I met at camp, right? So it's like, I umpire because I get to tell my umpire buddies I'm umpiring. We get to share our stories. It's
Right.
it's, it's kind of cool. I mean, I still would umpire, but a lot of the motivation in umpiring for me is like that I have friends that umpire, and
Right.
I want to have that thing in common. And then I started doing basketball, and I love basketball. Basketball is a lot of fun. It's good exercise. Um, and really, I think one of the things umpiring did for me was gave me a lot of confidence, because when you step on that field, when you step on that basketball court, whatever you're in, that is your domain. And it brought back something that I had in the military that I didn't really feel like I had since then, was just that this is mine to control. This is my area of responsibility. And I really take that personally when I step on a field. I take it and say, I'm in control of everything that happens on this field. And And so that confidence though bleeds over into a lot of areas. You begin to take control of different areas of your life. I feel like there were a lot of areas of my life that were kind of stagnant, spiraling. And I really feel since I started umpiring, got connected, and since we moved up here, uh, just been able to have the confidence to do pretty much anything I wanted to do. You know.
Okay, in Arabic, say baseball has been very, very good to me.
Baseball been very, very good to me. Funny story, actually. In Arabic, there's no P sound.
Hmm.
There's no P, so everything turns to a
Hey,
B.
Billy.
So like you're like, I want to eat the pizza. It gets really confusing when they try to speak English to me. So I had this teacher one time. He was Palestinian, and he comes to me. He had like the most gruff. He's like a short, really short man, and like heavy old man, kind of gruff voice. He goes, "What is a bitch?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "What is a bitch?" And I was like, you can't say that word. That's not a nice word." He goes, "No, no, no. Like, if someone is a bitcher or they want to bitch a ball." I was like, "Oh, pitch." Okay, yeah. So I had to explain to him like what. I was like, "You're talking about baseball, right?" He's like, "Yes, yes, yes, baseball." And it was just so funny because he came in and was asking me like, got right in my face and says, "What is a bitch?" And I
Your
was like,
mom. That's what a bitch
I
is.
was like, "Hey, I don't think you should be saying that word. That's not really like, it's not really a word we say a lot in public, good company in America." But he was wanting to know about baseball, so I got to explain
I was
baseball. Explaining American sports to non-Americans is a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet.
yes.
Explaining American football to Middle Easterners is a lot. Explaining baseball to anyone, period. I mean, it's got the most ridiculous rules.
First of all, could you imagine being Muslim in a Muslim country such as, I don't know, Afghanistan? And when you explain what a pigskin is, uh, oh, that's got to go over real great. Hey, let's play some pickup football there, boys.
Yeah,
I still think
like
we should have taken the general Pershing approach, but who, who am I? I'm nobody. But
you're nobody.
I'm nobody. Yeah, man, I tell you, there's structure to umpiring, and I think that's
Yeah,
what draws us military types to it. Um,
like putting the uniform on, looking sharp. You know, just taking command, taking charge. It's just something that just gives you confidence.
Definitely. I got to tell you, man. A friend of ours, Matt Curran's the one that talked me into going to camp, and I wasn't going to go. I had no desire in the world to be an umpire. And he finally talked to me, and man, you guys know the story. It's changed everything. Um, but I was so naive when I came back. Uh, I figured, all right, I'll go do some umpiring. I didn't know that we got paid. I thought, let me give back to the community because the community's all it supported us and everything.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
when I found
exactly.
out I got paid, I'm like, oh shit, this is a bonus right here. So it was pretty cool. And now I've gotten bit by the bug, so I really, really
Yeah,
enjoy it.
yeah. I still try to. I got a lot of stuff going on, and I stepped back. So I did high school. So in Georgia, they do high school softball in the fall, and I live on the border of North Carolina and Georgia, so I can do North Carolina softball in the spring, high school in Georgia in the fall. But I really stepped back. I wanted to be more involved in my local community, so I'm gonna be helping out with the rec department this year, softball,
Nice.
kind of training their umpires and making sure we aren't we putting the best product on the field we can.
Right.
Um, you guys know the level of professionalism and competence in youth sports umpiring is not good. Um, and it makes it bad when you're someone who actually cares and someone who puts a lot of pride in their work, that people just assume you don't because how the umpire before.
That's right. Nobody like Vince Chapman said last week. Nobody ever says that umpire sucks. It's those umpires suck.
Yeah. Well, I got onto the guy I was working with. I was working a basketball game with together the other night, and he showed up, shirt untucked, like did not look good, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? You know,
Right.
I said, not only, like I said, when you walk onto a court, and I told this to guys kind of helping out, like, teach a little bit on it too. I was like, when you walk onto a court or a baseball field, those coaches and those fans have made up their mind about what kind of umpire you're going to be before you've ever made a call.
Yep.
Right? They see you walk out there, your shoes aren't clean, your pants are wrinkled, your shirt's like looking sloppy. They've already decided that you don't care, and that carries over because, like, you can be a subpar umpire and look sharp, and coaches will respect you.
Thank you.
That's the thing about you.
Thank
And
you.
you can be the world's best umpire and look like trash, and they're going to question everything you do. And so I just think that
Well, I'm with
helping
you, man.
helping
I,
improve the quality of the product on the field is really good.
I've worked too hard in my life, to let some schlep come out there and make me look bad because they're a turd.
Yeah, and that's the
Um,
thing is that's what I was saying. Like I was telling him, it's like because here's the thing, when you're umpiring with somebody, and I was talking about uniformity and well, it's like we want to look as close to the same as we can because the worst thing we can do is have something that makes us stand out to the fans, right? They say, "Oh, that umpire, like with the beard, like whatever, like it singles us out." So the best we can to look uniform, to operate uniform, that it helps the other person. Like if you're the best umpire in the world and you're paired with somebody who's terrible, everybody's gonna think you're terrible.
That's facts. I had to. I think I told Lou this story. I was doing a high school game a couple years ago, and my partner shows up, and he pulls out his uniform out of the trunk, out of a bag, and is a total wrinkle grenade, right? Then he goes to put on this cloth belt, like you would get from, like, if you bought a an outfit at a store or something. It comes with a belt. He starts putting that on. I say, "Hey man, I got an extra belt if you need one." He goes, "Oh no, I'm good." I said, "No, hey man, I got an extra belt if you need one." "No, I'm good." I said, "Hey, moron, put this belt on. You are not going out on that field like that." And he looked at me like, honestly, he looked at me like I was his dad scolding him. And we were pretty close at the same age. But I'm like,
Yeah,
come on, man, have a little pride.
I mean, and I work with guys and they'll show up like right before a game or whatever.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know, it must be the military in me or just the professionalism and caring. Uh, but I'll show up an hour before a game, no matter what level it is. So it could be
Yeah.
8U basketball or
Yep.
8U softball. I'm gonna show up an hour before the game. I'm gonna be in the parking lot, shining my shoes, cleaning my gear, making sure everything looks good,
Way to
and that I'm squared
procrastinate.
away. Um, and guys just roll up there and whatever they got on and put it on, and it's just like you look like trash.
I love the excuse. Go ahead, Lou.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was saying just to go on, to add to what everybody's saying. I'm brand new this year, and I was going to my car, um, and I guess I'm one of the few that actually come out from behind the plate to see plays.
Yeah. Yes.
So as I was going to my car, a man came and stopped me, and I thought, oh, here, I'm gonna get it. But he said, "Hey, I just wanted to say thank you, for coming out and seeing the plays and being very loud. It was very clear to us what was going on." He said, "Every time we're like, what? Is that a ball? Is that a?" He's like, "But we knew what was going on." He said, "It was so good. We thought you missed a call at third. Another man was going to say something. My wife told him, sit down. At least you went out to see it."
Yeah.
He said, "So I just wanted to tell you
I've had
thank you."
parents
And
at travel ball games and high school games that like they've done exactly that. Like another parent would want to go say something and they'll like correct and be like, "No, this umpire actually cares. Like shut up."
yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah, it's when you show when you and I told I got a chance to hang out with Dave. I've told Andy privately 1,000 times, and I had a chance to hang out with Dave Pritchett, one of our umpires, professional umpires that comes to the camp. We were at a hockey game, and I was telling him of the compliments I receive, and I said, "Dave, I'm not bragging about myself. I only do what you
Yeah.
told. These are your
Yeah.
Right.
compliments. I knew nothing when I came there, and I only do what you told me
Speaking
to
of which, I
do.
need to tell
That's it."
Mike Mazza if he's listening or hears anything, I need to give him a pat on the back because he was my cage work instructor for a lot when I was going through camp, and I had an umpire that been a long time umpire, really good umpire, and he's an evaluator and everything. Tell me at a game last year, he said, "Man, I love the way you call balls and strikes. you sound so confident. You sound like a big leaguer. And I was like, I just remember Mike Mazza working with me in the cage and getting my voice right and all that. So Mike, if you're listening, thanks.
It,
That's on you, man.
it's funny, man. Still to this day, every time I get behind the plate, I feel like I've got Dave Pritchett on this shoulder and Rich Padilla on this shoulder, and I've got him talking in my head the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good thing, is what I mean. You know,
Yeah.
it keeps me. I remember everything they told me. You know, and so I just continue to do what they said, like you were talking about, Lou, and it keeps me from developing bad habits.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Every compliment I receive is not to me. I haven't been doing it
Mm-hmm.
long enough. It's to
hey,
you.
hey, Ray,
It's to everybody at the camp. It's to you
I'm
guys.
not sure I understand your comment, buddy. But I'm not real smart. But yeah, Lou, you talk about coming up behind from behind the dish and everything. I do that all the time too. But I went. It was I felt. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna say what I felt. But anyway, I rotated. There was a play. I was like, I got third. I start running down to third, and when I yelled that out, uh, the guy I was working with, unfortunately, didn't have a lot of experience. He froze in his tracks. He didn't know what to do, so he missed the play at first. And then I had to go explain him. And so I didn't get mad because I know he's just never been trained that way.
Yeah.
So you know, like we always talk about, you can bitch about something or you can do something about it. So we're developing a training plan for our umpires this
Yeah.
winter.
That's
So
good.
I'm pretty stoked about that.
Hey,
But
when you're behind the
I'm
plate, do
still
you stand
new.
on a box?
it really depends on how tall the catcher is.
Because I was just wondering how you see over like a 12U catcher.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Sometimes it's just difficult. Sometimes, I gotta kick him in the nuts a little bit, tell him to get down. But whatever. Those 8-year-olds, they're tough, man.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, we've got about 13 minutes left in the show, and we've got a new segment.
Ooh.
Lou, do you want to tell us
We
about
do.
the segment, and we'll roll right into it?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, so this is our segment where Andy picks a story and he's gonna tell us why he ain't buying it.
Oh boy!
This
So
sounds like my normal Tuesday phone call with Andy.
pretty much. Now, I have to tell on myself a little bit. It's kind of I had to write it out. It's a little bit longer one, and I can't find my glasses anywhere, man.
You look
I
weird
don't,
without
I
them.
don't know where. I mean, I took a nap the other day, an unintentional nap. I fell asleep with them on. I woke up. I can't. I've torn this house apart, man. I don't
You
know
look
where
kind of
they're at.
like Dr. Evil.
Oh wow, that's hurtful. Number one. Number two, I'll hump any laser I want. Anyway, here we go. Here's our second ever I ain't buying it segment. So, some stories just make you stop and ask, what is going on with this world? Let's talk about Morgan Geyser, one of the infamous Slender Man stabbing attackers. At just 12 years old, she lured her friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times, all to impress some fictional internet boogeyman. It was calculated, brutal, and left the victim fighting for her life. Now, after nearly a decade in a psychiatric hospital, Geyser is being released. But wait, let me tell you why. Well, apparently her latest position worked because she's adopted a transgender identity and convinced the judge she's no longer a threat. Look, I'm all for people living as their authentic selves, but let's not pretend that a new name and haircut automatically erases the violent part of someone who stabbed a classmate nearly to death. Let's not forget, this is the same judge who denied her release 3 times before. So what's changed? Is it the experts testifying on her behalf? The claims of reform? Or is it just that Geyser figured out the right way to play the system? Because let me tell you, it sure feels like the latter. And here's the kicker. Even the assistant district attorney called her out, saying she's changed her story repeatedly. First, it was about Slender Man. Then it was about escaping alleged abuse. And now she's suddenly a safe bet to rejoin society. Excuse me, but just how the hell does that add up? Meanwhile, the victim, Peyton Leutner, has to live with the trauma of what happened to her. What message does this send to her, to every victim of violent crime? That their safety takes a backseat to some feel-good narrative about reform. I'm sorry, but I don't buy that Morgan Geyser is ready to walk free. Not for 1 second. This isn't justice. It's a gamble, and it's a dangerous one. So Judge Boren can sign whatever papers he wants. The experts can talk about how safe she is all day long, but me, I ain't buying it. Buzzing.
Crazy.
That was a good one.
But that's the last word on
That's
it.
a good one.
Unbelievable, man.
So if Osama bin Laden had just become a woman, would we like have let him off the hook?
Probably in today's society, man.
It's insane. It's insane, man. Right before I was leaving the jail, it started to come into the jail, right? Like the people coming in. And here's what we're learning, right? Here's what we're learning. And so you almost have to wonder about the nefariousness of this, right? There's a market for that in the weird nocturnal activities market, if you will, to have guys who have breasts. They're not transgender. They don't have gender dysphoria. They don't have anything. It's just a way of making more money to be able to buy more drugs. And we have to entertain it. And if we don't, we are in trouble because judges have ruled supposedly it's life affirming care. So it is insane. People are working the system all over, all over. We started a thing called and I'll be real quick and then I got to stop. But we started a thing called medicated assisted therapy because a judge said that's, so we've been detoxing people from drugs in jails for centuries, right? Centuries, 3 days, Valium, you're out, right? You're done, right? But no. All of a sudden it's life affirming care. So you have to give people drugs while they're in jail, right? So not like the heroin, right? But the Suboxone and all that. When we implemented it, because we were ordered by a court to, they of course did an article in the newspaper. Of course, working an intake, every inmate coming in. Yo, you required with Suboxone, right? I went and got a prescription last week. Check it right here. Right here. Right here. Look it up. Check Short Scripts.
Unbelievable.
I want my Suboxone tomorrow morning when I'm upstairs.
You know, we should start a new
Oh, yeah, man. They know the system.
Like a nurse, a prison worker, and a pastor talk about all the crazy stuff they see.
Well, that sounds like a bad joke right there.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane, man. It's insane. But I'll tell you what, though. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. But we have a charity.
Yes.
Because if we don't,
as a matter of fact, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. So for our Veterans Helping Veterans segment, we're going to actually let our guest talk about an organization that he has.
Yeah, so as I talked about earlier, I'm on the board with Veterans Fly Fishing. It's a nonprofit 501c3 here in Georgia. I started about 10 years ago. Some guys wanted to help get vets on the water. And so they started this thing. They train their own guides. They have a private water that lets them use it first and third Monday of every month. They have an outing out there. They train their own guides. They have a guide training program, and they have former vets and guys that want to help vets. They get out there and take people fishing, teach them about fishing, teach them how to tie the knots, teach them how to, how to land a fish, how to play the fish, how to net it, all the stuff. So it's not just like, hey, go fishing with a buddy kind of day. It's like a community to really learn about fishing and learn more about the art of fly fishing. And it's helped a lot of guys. I know several guys who've gone on to be professional guides from the program, and they're still giving back. And it's here in Dahlonega, Georgia. It's in North Georgia, and the outings are free. So basically, as a fly fishing guide, right? So if I took out somebody on a fly fishing trip, it would cost like $500 plus, right? But with Veterans Fly Fishing, you get a guided fishing trip, all day guided fishing trip.
I got to stop you for a second. you. Wow. Ray Brownlee in the room said, I would like to help that dude with fly fishing. $500 U.S. donation. Amazing.
Right. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, brother. Wow.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll give you the information. The organization is
my account, Ray.
VeteransFlyFishing.org is the organization. And it's great. But like I said, it costs that much to to do a trip, but we offer it the gear, full day trip, guided trip on a private water in Georgia, with lunch, everything provided, for free, for nothing, for these guys.
That's awesome.
And it's great. I love being a part of it, and love seeing guys get hooked on, and I can't, like I said, I can't tell you how many guys have been out there and be like, man, this is the most peaceful I've been in a long time. And you guys know how important that is to find something like that. So
Amen. I've got to write this down real quick. Ray, I'm going to send you Will's contact information here.
yeah,
in a little
please
bit.
do.
That's amazing. Wow, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Ray.
Anyway, so it's veteranflyfishing.org.
Veteransflyfishing.org.
Awesome. So, hey, check them out. We already have one great individual in here willing to help out. If you can, if you can only afford $5, or whatever you can, find in your heart to give these organizations, because they're doing God's work, man, and they're doing good things, and I really appreciate it. Anyway, without further ado, it's about that time. Do you want to, before I give you the last word, Will? If anybody wants to reach out and contact you, where can they do that at?
Yeah, my cell number, prison cell number is 423. I'm just kidding. So yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Look me up. I'm friends with Andy and Lou. You could reach out to me, 3 of the WWA guys. They probably know how to get in touch with me, or veteransflyfishing.org. Look me up, and try to connect with me. And if you want to go fishing, let's go fishing.
Hell yeah. Lou, I'm going to leave the last word to you, and we'll get on here. Before that, though, don't go anywhere. After we stop broadcasting, we'll hang out in the whatever.
Yeah. So a second ago, before I said us go, Andy, you caught me staring off into space. I pulled up veteransflyfishing.org and I was looking at the website. There's some really cool pictures there, man. And then a big fish came across, and you're like, and Lou, you'll close. And I was like, God, please not now. After I talked to Will about it, I was like, oh, thank God. I lost all sense of time and space and conversation. I was like, that's a big fish, man.
You got some big trout in there.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. All right. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening again. Hey, but there's algorithms everywhere, and one of them, likes to see 5-star reviews and, click and like and all that stuff down there. We're growing every day. Again, like I said, I do see your emails. I just can't reply to all of them. I do try to reply, but thanks. I appreciate it all. I appreciate all the compliments and everything. I know I talk fast. I apologize. We'll be back. We will be back, next week again. With our fight preview so far. Again, if anything stops with that or anything changes, right? We told you we're guaranteed we're going to either have a pre-fight review or a post-fight analysis, one or the other, with Marcelo Garcia, one of his former training partners and good friends to this day, Professor Rodrigo Junquera from Team Junquera. He'll be here next week. Again, if scheduling holds up like it does now. If not, we will let you know, and we'll have post-fight analysis, but we're looking for pre-fight analysis. Marcelo Garcia returning to the Mets again on the 27th for a fight, and we're going to talk to his buddy next week to find out what he's doing, how he's
so
prepping.
Excited, man. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. We're looking forward to it. And you're talking to a guy who's been in the world, man, who knows these people, Rodrigo Junquera. He's had opportunities to attend seminars with the Gracies, grew up in Brazil. And we'll talk to him, a little bit too as well about some of the things going on in Western Pennsylvania Jiu-Jitsu, Eastern Ohio. Very plugged into that scene there.
I'm gonna need you to pay attention next time when I say the last word. I mean, word.
My bad.
I'm just kidding. All right, everybody. We'll see y'all next week.
See you.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table with Andy and Lou, an Admiral Media production podcast. All information at the time of recording is mostly accurate.